The World Trade Organization (WTO) is the only global international organization that deals with international trade rules. At its center are the WTO Accords drafted, signed, and ratified by most of the world's trading states. The purpose is to assist producers of goods and services, exporters and importers with their operations. There are several perspectives on the World Trade Organization. It is a trade opening organization. Following that, it serves as a venue for governments to negotiate trade agreements. Aside from that, it is a venue where they can settle commercial issues. It has a set of trading rules in place. Essentially, the WTO is a forum where member states attempt to resolve trade disputes with one another.
One of the WTO members is Japan. Japan's economy is the third largest in the world in terms of GDP and one of the largest producers of automobiles, steel and high-tech manufactured goods in the world. Japan has pursued a rule-based strategy based on WTO regulations and the latest economic partnership agreement. Instead of pursuing an easy settlement in bilateral discussion with the US, Japan should encourage China to follow WTO rules and take the lead in completing the regional comprehensive economic partnership.
The next part is, when did Japan join the WTO? Japan has been a WTO member since 1 January 1995. Japan a member of General Agreement on Tariff and Trade since 10 September 1955. The membership of Japan to the World Trade Organization was noteworthy because it signaled the integration of one of the world's major economies into the global trading system. Japan is aggressively addressing climate change and leading international discussion by setting, among other things, an ambitious mid-term objective for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and the Hatoyama Initiative to exist under developed nations. Japan also considers global environmental concern as an important topic of its diplomacy and it actively dealing with them by presenting a variety of ideas based on its own experience in the international community. During the 15th session of the Conference of the Parties to UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, the exact content of Hatoyama Initiative was unveiled. Under this initiative, Japan will provide financial assistance to develop the countries that take climate change mitigation measures, as well as those that are vulnerable to the negative effect of climate change up to the end of 2012.
To Japan participating in any global conferences on environmental commitment, what is their responsibility? Japan actively participates in international conferences including United Nations Climate Change Conference and Convention on Biological Diversity meetings. At COP, Japan engages in negotiation, shares knowledge and promote effective climate measures. In CBD meetings, Japan supports biodiversity conservation, set national targets and contributes to discussion. Japan also participates in the United Nations Environment Assembly, UNEA, the highest level environmental decision-making body where it shares initiative and support resolution and action plan. In the G7 and G20 summit, Japan also collaborates with other nations on climate change, biodiversity and sustainable development. Japan participates in various global environmental forums and initiatives, including the International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN), Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC), and Clean Energy Ministerial (CEM). So, what are the actions that have been taken? First, Japan actively fights climate change, joining international climate negotiation after rectifying the Kyoto Protocol in 2002. The government promotes energy efficiency, renewable energy, and low-carbon technology. Japan also contributes ODA to develop nations for environmental sustainability. It supports climate change adaptation, renewable energy, forest conservation, and water resource management Japan also donates to the Green Climate Fund. Japan collaborates with other nations to protect the environment. It participates in the G7 climate, biodiversity, and marine conservation issue, the Coral Triangle Initiative, and Asia-Pacific Rainforest Partnership involve Japan. Diplomatic engagement. Japan promotes sustainability through diplomatic channels. It attends United Nations climate change conferences and Convention on Biological Diversity negotiation.
The challenges for Japan in reducing the impact of international trade towards environmental destruction is maintaining recovery. The supply chain bottlenecks and labor market frictions, which momentarily misalign the supply and demand sides of the economy, have made it difficult to sustain the economic recovery globally. As a result, economic growth has slowed and prices for goods and services, particularly those for food and energy, have increased. Next, the challenges for Japan is taking care of Japan's population issue. In Japan, birth rates have drastically decreased since the 1970s. The country's productive potential is decreasing because fewer young people are joining the labor force. As a result, the Social Security Fund experiences deficits that must be covered by the Japanese government's fiscal budgets. Last but not least, the challenges for Japan is investment diversification away from China. Japan's labor shortage was solved by China's inexpensive labor force, which helped its manufacturers maintain their competitiveness in the global economy.
Okay, for question number 3, does Japan have bilateral or multilateral trade with Malaysia? If yes, what kind of policies, industries, activities do they have to deal with each other? Japan has bilateral trade with Malaysia. The relationship between Malaysia and Japan has significantly improved over the last 65 years. The Look East Policy, LEP, which has been in contribution since 1982, has been the main factor in strengthening the unique friendship between Malaysia and Japan. Through strong cooperation, high-level dialogue, and international connection. In fact, our cooperative relationship have given our forward-thinking bilateral partnership more momentum. Malaysia and Japan are partners in many areas on bilateral, regional, and multilateral platforms due to shared interests. Do you think the bilateral multilateral trade will increase the Japan economic development? Yes, we think bilateral trade will increase Japan economic development, as in 2021, bilateral trade with Japan reached 149.76 billion ringgit, ranking Japan as Malaysia's fourth largest trading partner. In terms of complete projects, Japan is one of Malaysia's largest foreign investors. 2709 manufacturing projects with Japanese involvement are currently on the way, with a combined investment of 90.9 billion ringgit.
In conclusion, Japan's membership in the WTO demonstrates its commitment to international trade and economic cooperation, while recognizing the need to address environmental concerns. The country actively engaged in global conferences and initiatives, emphasizing its dedication to environmental commitments and sustainability. Japan's effort to reduce environmental impact through policies, investment in clean technologies, and participation in international collaboration showcase its proactive approach. However, challenges persist in balancing economic growth with environmental protection. Nevertheless, the bilateral trade between Japan and Malaysia provide opportunities for economic development, technology transfer, and mutual benefit, contributing to the overall growth and prosperity of both countries.